Hi everyone, my name is Wayne Wallace and I'd like to welcome you to the Success Coaching Call and Webinar. I'm super excited today because I've got some great stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you that you can use immediately to improve your life and your business and move the needle in a positive direction towards reaching your goals. Every week I seek to learn some new things that I can share with you that are related to becoming more successful. And you may have heard about them before, or you may be learning something brand new, or you may be hearing something that you've heard before and maybe you need to hear it again. I know with myself, I listen to a lot of things, I go to a lot of seminars, I listen to a lot of speakers and coaches, and sometimes I listen to something or I hear something and maybe I'm not quite in the right space for it, or it's not the right time for me to implement that, and I forget about it. And later on when I hear it, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years later, I may say, hey, I heard that before, that's a great idea, let me take some action on that now and implement that. So maybe you're in one of these places yourself. So let's jump right in to the webinar here. So first of all, I want to welcome you and applaud you for being here today on the coaching call or webinar. And today, if you're on the call specifically, I'm going to be sharing my screen. This is a new thing that I'm doing. If you've been on some of the past success coaching calls, what I'm doing now is I'm sharing my screen and sharing slides with you so you can get some visual information as well. But don't worry if you've dialed into the call or you're listening to the podcast. I'm going to explain everything that's on my screen, so you don't necessarily need to see the slides, but I'm a very visual person and I like seeing things in a visual way, and I've added this feature to the Success Coaching Call /webinar, so if you're a visual person, then you can enjoy the presentation as well. If you'd like to see the presentation, you can see that by going to my website, which is waynewallace.com, and clicking on the Success Coaching Call page. And there you'll see a link that says the online meeting, and I put a little arrow there so you can tell which link it is. And you just click on that link, it'll take you right to the webinar. You don't even have to register. It's just a open webinar platform, and it allows me to share my screen. So if I want to show you anything in a web browser or anything like that, I can do that. I also set up a bit.ly link. If you're not familiar with bit.ly, it's bit.ly, and you can set up a short link that makes it easier for people to find stuff. So I set up a short link to that link, and I'm going to read it out to you here in case you want to type it into your browser or into your phone. It's bit.ly/success-coaching-webinar. So that's bit.ly/success-coaching-webinar. And you can just type that in and you'll go right to the webinar page. You can also find the link in the Success Coaching Facebook group. I posted it there as a pinned post, and if you're not familiar with a pinned post, it's a post that you can make always stay at the top. So if you go there on your web browser, on your computer, you'll see it right there at the top, and then on your phone, it won't show. You'll need to actually make it visible as the pinned post, and then you can see it there. So I gave you plenty of ways to find that, and if for some reason you still can't find it, just text me on my phone number, which you should store in your phone in case you ever need me for anything. Store me as Coach Wayne or Wayne Wallace, whatever you want to store me as, and I'll give you my number now. It's 702-238-9413. So you can just text me anytime at that number, and I will get back to you shortly. All right. So first, I'd like to acknowledge you for being here on the live call or listening to the recording later on. And because you're here, it means you're serious about your success. And I want to just congratulate you and let you know that you're one of the 5%ers. Okay, they did a study of 100 people, and they found that only 5% of them achieved success, which means they're the only ones that took a progressive step each day to reach their goals. So I want to applaud you for that. And if you got a bottle of champagne there, you can pop it and have some champagne for yourself. Since it's Sunday, maybe you want to have a little, what do they call those, mimosa? All right, so let's get on with the agenda here. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a couple of things. I pulled together some interesting topics for us. One is the Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. The second is the Entrepreneur Quiz. The third will be the Monkey Mind. And fourth will be the 4 Steps to Success by Tony Robbins. So first on the agenda here is the Cashflow Quadrant. And if you've never read this book, I highly recommend it. If you think you're an entrepreneur, or you'd like to be an entrepreneur, or you'd like to simply just get out of the rat race of working a job, which means just above broke, or just just above broke, I think they say. So your boss is never going to pay you enough for you to be rich and wealthy. And in the book Cashflow Quadrant, Robert talks about this. And if you've never read the book, you can just jump on YouTube and do a quick search for Cashflow Quadrant, and you'll see it there. Robert explains it. And if you just want to do a search on Google, you can find the playlist that I made, and I put Robert's video right in my playlist. So just jump on Google and do a search for YouTube Wayne Wallace Success Coach, and you'll find my YouTube page, and you'll look at the playlist for Robert Kiyosaki, and you can find it right there. It's just a short, 5-10 minute video where he explains it. But I'm going to do my best to explain it to you right now. So if you're on the audio only, if you can imagine in your mind a big plus sign. So if you take a blank sheet of paper and you draw a big plus sign, and then we're going to label each quadrant, each of the 4 quadrants. The top left quadrant is the employee, or the E quadrant. So you're going to put a big E in there, and that stands for employee. The bottom left quadrant is labeled with an S, and that stands for self-employed. And then the top right quadrant is a big B, and that's for the business owner. And then the bottom right corner is labeled with an I. That stands for investor. So let me explain these 4 quadrants. So the E quadrant is the upper left one, and that's anyone that has a job. They're an employee, and as I mentioned, just above broke. You don't want to be in that quadrant any longer than you have to. And I understand we all start out there, but you want to move away from that quadrant as fast as possible. Now, what a lot of people do is they move into the lower left quadrant, and they become self-employed. Maybe you're a photographer like me, or maybe you're a hairstylist or makeup artist, or maybe even a plumber, and you have your own plumbing company. Well, that's all great. You're self-employed, you're the boss, but basically you just own your own job. So like if I stop taking pictures, I don't get paid. So really you want to move out of the S quadrant as fast as possible as well. You don't want to just be self-employed, because basically you just have a job that you own, and it's actually harder than being an employee. Where you want to move into is the top right quadrant, which is the B quadrant. That's being a business owner. And basically what that means is you want to have a business that you can step away from and have other people work in it for you, or have a system that allows you to bring other people in and grow the business without you necessarily need to be involved in the day-to-day work. Okay, so I was listening to a Tim Ferriss podcast, and one of the things he recommends is schedule a vacation, a 4-week vacation, maybe 6 months to a year away. And that's going to make you work really hard to get your business in order and make sure that it can run for 4 weeks while you're gone. So that's where you want to be. And then the I quadrant is the lower right quadrant, and that's basically when you have profits coming in from your business that you invest, and those investments make money for you. So basically you have money making money. And a lot of people think that if they are an employee and they have a 401k account, they're an investor. Well, they're really not an investor. That's just a glorified savings account. There are other investment vehicles that you can use that, or even choosing your own stocks, that will make more money than just contributing to a 401k. So we can jump into those discussions at a later time. But the right two quadrants are the ones that we want to move into. We want to move into being a business owner, that we can step away from our business and have it still operate and make money. And then we want to be an investor that invests in things that make money while we sleep. Okay? So basically you want to become an entrepreneur, because those two quadrants are basically what an entrepreneur is. And I recently listened to Barbara Corcoran speak at UNLV, and she's got a great story. If you don't know her story, you need to go listen to a YouTube video or see her speak. Basically, she turned $1,000 into several $1 million in a real estate company. She started a real estate company, and she has a great story. So go check it out. And she sold her company. She made a lot of money, and now, of course, she's on Shark Tank, and she's got a great story about that as well. But when I listened to her speak, she said she had a great quiz on her website that basically tells you if you've got the skill set to become an entrepreneur or not. And I thought, oh, well, I consider myself an entrepreneur. Let me go take the test and see how I do. And I did pretty well. I'm not going to give you my score, because I don't want you to compare yourself to me. You don't want to compare yourself to anyone. But I did pretty good. I've got some of the skills that it takes to be an entrepreneur. So I encourage you to go up on her website and take that test as well. That's her website right there. And when you get to her website, you'll see a link and the menu item up there called ENTIQ, and that's what she calls it. So just click on that and you'll be able to take the test. It's only a 4-question quiz, and it'll give you immediate results if you have the skill set, what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And then she also tells you what you're lacking in, so you can work on those things. So that's a really great tool for anyone that is considering becoming or thinks they already are an entrepreneur. So let's move on to the next subject of taming the monkey mind. And, you know, this was a new concept for me when I heard it, and maybe a new concept for you. So that's why I'm bringing it up. It actually comes from a Buddhist term meaning unsettled and restless, you know, basically a confused, uncontrollable mind. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, we may be really confused about which direction we want to go. We've got a lot of ideas, especially creative people. They get like this. I get like this sometimes, and I have so many ideas coming at me. And, you know, that's your monkey mind. And one of the things that your monkey mind wants you to do is just stay in that state of confusion and not move towards your goal with a clear mind. So anytime you're fearing something and you want to stay in your comfort zone, that's your monkey mind talking to you. And the scariest thing for the monkey mind is you getting clear and going full steam ahead towards reaching your goals and the things maybe that you fear the most. So if you've listened to past podcasts and webinars that I've done, you know that doing this was on my list of things to do, and I had fear around it, and the monkey mind was telling me not to do it, not to do it. Oh, you're not good enough, or you know, you can't do it, you're not ready yet. And, you know, that's gone. The monkey mind in that area is gone. I squelched that voice. And so I got a couple tips for you about controlling the monkey mind or taming the monkey mind. But usually the message that you hear is that you're not good enough. That's basically the message. Or you're not ready, or you can't do this. That's the message that you're going to get. So you probably had that before. And one of the ways that you can tame the monkey mind is to start being more aware in the moment. Consciously observe yourself and your thoughts in relation to the very moment that you're in. And this can help you reduce the stress and get more control. And don't judge your thoughts as good or bad. Just realize that you're having them. And then, you know, start to maybe ask yourself questions about why do you feel this way? Why do you feel like you're not good enough? What's causing these thoughts? Are they true? Are they really helping? And you can search on the web for a lot of great information around mindfulness training. And this is a technique that's used to help people control the monkey mind. So do a search on Google for mindfulness training, and you'll get some more information about that. And I'll go into this a little more depth in future webinars. But I just wanted to kind of give you a few different tips on controlling the monkey mind. That's the first one. The second one is, well, this is an extension really of the first one there. It's being aware in the moment, and I've got 4 steps for you. And I learned this technique from Josh Payes, or Payes, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, and you can find his website at committedimpulse.com, and he teaches this method in kind of live classes. And the first step is there's no particular order to these steps. You can do them in any order you want, but the order that we're going to go in today is this order. So engage with your environment. So just be aware of, you know, where you're at, what you're doing, you're sitting in a chair, you're looking at a book, whatever it is. And that's really the first two, is engage with your environment and be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of your body, be aware of your feelings and what you're thinking. And then take 3 deep breaths. So you want to just take a deep breath and just exhale. And then take another deep breath and exhale. So after you do the 3 breaths, you'll be, more centered and more at peace. And then there's another thing that you want to do when you notice yourself slipping away into your mind and thinking of maybe, things that you have to do or things that you're stressed about or whatever. You want to say, I'm back. So when you feel yourself leaving the present, just say to yourself or out loud if you can, I'm back. So pretend you're sitting in a conference or sitting in a meeting and you're off there daydreaming, right? And you're drawing, little things on your paper or whatever. Or you're just, looking up at the ceiling and daydreaming. When you notice yourself doing that, you want to say, I'm back. And you may not want to say that out loud in the class or in the conference because people look at you and say, what? Where'd you go? But at least say it to yourself so you acknowledge that, you were not in the present moment. So that's a little technique that you can use. And this is Josh's website. He's an actor and director and producer. And you can check out his website at committedimpulse.com. So the next technique I learned from Tim Ferriss. He's got a blog post about the monkey mind. So if you jump on Google and you do a search, or on YouTube and do a search for the 5-minute journal, you'll find where he talks about how he uses the 5-minute journal. And basically in the morning and or in the evening, you can just take some simple notes about how your day was or what your goals are for the day. And one of the things he said in a Google talk that he did is that he uses the 5-minute journal to write down those monkey mind thoughts that he has and just get them out of his head and put them on paper and lock them up so they're not in his head. So you may want to try that technique. And here's the blog page where he talks about caging the monkey mind. And then another tip or another way to help with the monkey mind is through meditation and yoga. Personally, I don't do meditation and yoga. I've never really been very successful at it, but maybe one day I'll give it a try. But you can use meditation and yoga to calm the monkey mind. So the next topic I want to discuss is the 4 Steps to Success by Tony Robbins. He talked about this in his classic audio program called Personal Power that came out back in the 1980s. Is the 4 Steps to Success by Tony Robbins. He talked about this in his classic audio program called Personal Power that came out back in the 1980s. And, you know, if you're old enough to remember, you remember his infomercial where he was selling this program. And this was his first infomercial that he did. And, you know, he looks like a young guy on that that audio cassette cover there, right? But if you do a quick search on Google or YouTube, you'll find recordings of this, and you can listen to them. They're pretty much freely available now. And he talks about the 4 steps to success. Now, some of the stories that he tells and the references that he makes are a little dated, but the actual information that he shares is still very relevant today. And it'll help you tap into your personal power and become more successful. So these are the 4 steps that he talks about. 1 is know your outcome in every situation. So no matter what the situation is, whether it's a business situation or a personal situation, know your outcome that you want to achieve before you start. And that way you're going to have, a direction and a focus. And then he talks about why we don't do these things that we want to do and we're not successful is because we have fear around them. And that kind of is what I talked about before with the monkey mind. The monkey mind tells you, no, you're not good enough. So what we want to do is we want to take action in the face of that fear. Or as my other coach, Eric Lofholm, says, take action in the face of resistance. So it's all basically the same thing. Anytime you're feeling fear or feeling resistance or telling yourself, no, I can't do this, that's basically your true north. That's where you want to go. That's the direction that you want to take. And you just need to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just go and do it. Number 3 is analyze your results. So after you've taken some action, analyze your results. Is it working? Are you having any success? If it's not working, then you may need to adjust. You may need to change direction. It may be just not the right thing. You may need to do something completely different. So number 4 ties in with that. You need to be flexible to change your course if it's not working. So it may be just bad idea, bad timing, whatever. But you want to be flexible. Just because you started doing something, you don't want to keep on doing it if it's not successful. Okay? So that's Tony's 4 steps to success, and I would highly recommend you go listen to the whole Personal Power series. It's a great series. So in that series, Tony talks about if you just improved by 1% every day, just imagine where you would be a year from now. So if you've been following me in my journey with these podcasts and the way they started and where they are now today with this particular podcast, I've been trying to improve and make changes all the time, every week. So now I've got a great set of slides. Hope you like them. And this is kind of where I wanted to start, but I wasn't quite ready yet. I didn't have the time or whatever, so I've been trying to make new changes all the time. And I've been adding new things pretty much every week. So, take a small step each day and improve yourself or improve your process or your business, whatever it is. And you're going to be much better off, a week from now and a month from now and 6 months from now and a year from now. So one of the things that I've done to improve this whole success coaching, path that I'm on is to create a podcast station. And it's called the Success Coaching Podcast. You can find it at AskWayneNow.com. And I'm using the Anchor podcast platform. And it's a really cool platform. It's basically mobile phone based, although you can access it on the web. But when you want to create your own podcast, you do it right from your phone. You can do it from wherever you are, which is cool. I really like that aspect of it because in the moment, I can just create a podcast. So jump on your Play Store or your iTunes and download the app It's called Anchor. This is the symbol for it here. It looks like a little Wi-Fi kind of symbol, and it's blue for those audio listeners. And go to AskWayneNow.com and join that podcast and listen in. I try and do a podcast segment every day and share a little tip with you. So I look forward to seeing you on Anchor, and I encourage you to start your own podcast. Start talking about something that you're into. And one of the cool features of the Anchor podcast is you can allow people to call in. And basically you just hit the call in button right there on your phone, and you can leave a message. It's not really calling into a live call, but you can leave in and either ask a question or give me some feedback or share some of your success that you're having. So I'd love for you to do that when you join me on Anchor. Call in and leave me some feedback. It's a very interactive type process. And if it's something that I feel like sharing on the podcast, I can just share your message as part of my podcast. So keep that in mind. If you want to share something on my podcast, just make sure it's, able to be shared in the content. If you don't want me to share it, just let me know that right up front when you call in. Say, don't share this. You're just giving that feedback to me. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you there. And then also I'd like to offer you a free personal success coaching session with me. So if you've got something that you'd like to talk about with me personally and get some help with, then I invite you to go to my website, WayneWallace.com, and schedule a free coaching session with me. You'll see the link right there on the menu, and you can just schedule a free session with me, and we can sit down and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Okay? And here's my contact information. If you'd just like to reach out to me personally, you can text me anytime or call me anytime at my number there, 702-238-9413, or feel free to email me at wayne@waynewallace.com. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today on the Success Coaching Call and Webinar, and I'd like to invite you to stay in the conversation. And there's a couple ways you can do that. Obviously, you can go to the Facebook group, but I do also have a group on the GroupMe app. So if you go to your Play Store or your iTunes, you can download the GroupMe app, and you can find the Success Group. Here's a bit.ly link for it. It's bit.ly/success_group, and you can join in the conversation there with other people that are staying in the conversation. We can share information quickly with the GroupMe app. And then if you'd also like to receive updates via text message, you can take out your phone and text the word Shazam to 38470. That's the word Shazam, SHAZAM, to the number 38470. And that way you'll get regular text updates from me about the call or anything else that's happening. So with that, I'd like to thank you again for joining me and wish you a success-filled day.